Ігор, росли. Hello and welcome to round 7 action of the NPL New South Wales men's competition. It is match of the round time and it doesn't get much bigger than this. It is one of the most historical and biggest rivalries in the country. It is Sydney United 58 hosting the Marconi Stallions. The weather not the best out here in Sydney Southwest at Adenza Park, but that hasn't kept the fans away. The hill slowly starting to build up as the Sydney United 58 faithful come out in their numbers to see them take on their closest rival, separated by not even a kilometre in terms of location. Marconi Stallions Stadium in the same suburb just down the road. But we're in for an absolute belter. Two sides on pretty different paths to start the season. The Marconi Stallions yet to lose, while Sydney United just 2 wins from their first 6 games. Both sides struggling a bit in front of goal, but defensively rock solid. And that is to be expected when you consider the experience of these two sides. These two sides first started battling in 1958, both established in the same year. And now in 2025, a new chapter of the rivalry begins with both sides set for the Australian Championship later in the season. Two of the most historical sides in the country going head to head. I'm Dominic Grenadian. Thanks for joining us on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. Honoured to be here. There's a special buzz around the stadium today. Plenty still flocking in. Hope the weather holds off for a little bit longer as we get ready to kick proceedings off here. Two of the more experienced coaches in this competition as well. Fielding a mixture of youth and experience, and that can definitely be said by Sydney United. Debutant last week who scored their lone goal. Keeps his spot up top as Marconi tell me remains suspended. But it's going to be the Marconi Stallions getting us underway. Their skipper Marko Jezic. We're underway at Adenza Park. Match of the round time for round 7. So let's get to the starting lineups for both sides. Not much changes in terms of the starting 11 for both sides, that is. There's an early long pass from the skipper Adrian Vlastovitz that goes out, and Sydney United's first bit of possession goes a bit wayward. So a few changes from Sydney United's point of view. And we'll get to that lineup now. Peter Sakanis admitting a bit of happiness pre-game that he hasn't had to change much. Only one player, or 2 players really to come into him. But Sydney United's starting lineup in goals: number 1, Tristan Prendergrass; number 3, Bailey Rule; number 4, the skipper Adrian Vlastovitz; number 10, Carlos de Oliveira; number 11, Matthew Hatch; number 14, Liam McGinn; number 16, Anthony Krilich; number 17, Michael Glassock; number 23, the top goal scorer this year, Mason Wells; number 37, Luke Zubella; and number 43, Michael Pratzina. Scored that goal last week on debut, and an early chance here. Carlos de Oliveira was through on goal. Bit of a late lunge there by James Bayliss. Referee almost telling him how lucky he is there not to get a card that early, because Carlos, with that heavy touch, setting himself up for a good shot at the edge of the box there. We know he's very capable of scoring from that distance, and the distance he's at now, as a matter of fact, especially from set pieces. Scored an absolute screamer last season. Sydney United's number 10. So a very early chance here within the first 2 minutes for Sydney United, and it's Adrian Vlastovitz possibly looking to line this one up. Carlos de Oliveira lurks as well. De Oliveira goes for it, just a little bit too high, didn't get the dip he wanted. And the first chance of the game nothing of major concern for the Stallions defence. So we'll just finish off the starting lineup, or the lineups for Sydney United on the bench. Starting off with the experienced number 5, Anthony Tomalich. Number 8, Mario Chabot returns to the bench. Number 13, Alessandro Lacalandra. Number 15, Tariq Maya. Number 31, Josip Orlovic. And number 49, Christian Ladiari. And the Marconi Stallions, as we mentioned, Peter Sekenis. No changes to his starting lineup from last week's side. That got a 1-0 win over Sydney FC. They are as follows. Number 1, James Hilton. Number 2, Tyron Burney. Number 4, Anton Milanic. Number 5, Lachlan Griffiths. Number 6, Dom Costanzo. Number 8, James Bayless. Number 10, the skipper, Marko Jezic. Number 14, Jake True. Number 17, Damien Sekenis. Number 18, George Daniel. And number 23, Brandon Vella. On the bench is number 3, Cameron Windus. Number 9, Kyle Cementi. Number 11, Miloslav Popovic. Number 16, Liam Yawley. Number 20, Patrick Williams. Number 24, Matej Busic. Is the lineup for the Marconi Stallions today. Now that the formalities are out of the way, we can get going here. McGinn out the back there. Good to see him back in the centre. Lined up with Vlastelica, that centre-back pairing the last couple of years. And as rock solid as it comes in this competition. McGinn started a little bit of his journey this season as a fullback. Now forming into the middle with Glassick moving up a bit into that number 6 role with Anthony Tomalich on the bench today, the most capped Sydney United player in this current squad. Bailey Rule pushing the back of Jezic, seemed to work there as they got through it, and that is a sensational clearance out the back there. Looked like it was Damien Sekenis, almost bicycle kick. You see that in video games, I think that's a bit unrealistic, but then you see something like that happen and just proves how great the athletes are here in the NPL New South Wales. So Marconi yet to muster a chance in the first 5 minutes. This is really the first time they've been in Sydney United's attacking third. Bernie's going to have a strike against his former Blacktown City teammate in goals, Tristan Prendergast. Took a deflection. Apologies for the technical difficulties we're having here. It seems to be fixed now. Marconi Stallions blowing their first chance of the game via that corner, but they're right back on the attack here. Big thank you to Mario and Jono, who were sending me messages throughout, keeping me updated with what was happening, but should be good for the remainder of this match. Match for the round. Big matchup between these two historical sides. Krilic went for a little run all the way up from left back and no success. This very, very strong Marconi Stallions side only conceded 4 goals in the first 6 games of this season, but alternatively have struggled a little bit to find the back of the net, only 8 goals in the first 6 games. It's an early chance here. It's Sekenis. Had a great look at it, but a little bit off balance on the volley and on his left foot as well. It's going to be a tricky one to finish, but from that close. Another overhead kick there. Marconi must be practicing that one. That was Dom Costanzo in the middle there. Had a quick sneak peek in the locker rooms earlier, having a chat to Peter Sekenis, and As a true proud Italian, Dom Costanzo has the Lucky Chilies on his backpack. I thought that was a good little nod to the Italian heritage of not only himself but the club Marconi. And ever since he's emerged into this side, they've had plenty of good luck, and that little chili might just be hanging around a little bit longer. As Sekenis looks to get around Vlastelica. Strong as ever, the captain. Forces him out for a throw, and back into their own half now, the Stallions. Out the back there through Milanic. Possession lost in the middle, and now a chance to go the other way for Sydney United. Good long ball across to Hatch, one of the fastest players in this competition, showing us what he can do across the middle. First time, deflected away, and a bit of pinball at the edge of the box, but it's back now with Glassick. And just calmly resetting. McGinn not wasting much time, trying to find Bailey Rule, lunged at it, and deflected back into the outstretched legs of the right back there, and safely into the possession of James Hilton. Hilton been a rocker this side, and that solid back four, as I mentioned, only conceded 4 goals, but obviously after last season winning the grand final and scoring plenty of goals in the 2024 season, losing their top striker, James Temulkovsky, his impact is so massive on this team, and arguably on form, probably the best, if not top 2 striker in the competition last year. Got an opportunity to join the Western Sydney Wanderers at the end of the season, which he took up, and it was thoroughly deserved. Of course, him and Alek Udashevsky battling for the Golden Boot for most of the year, but no longer with this Marconi side. And they're collecting the goals by committee. And looking to get one here, Sydney United. It was a good ball through in the end there from Potenza. And it's going to be a corner for the Sydney United, their first of the game. It's a pretty fast-paced start to this game, which is, considering the way the season's gone for both these sides in terms of their game, a bit unusual, but say form goes out the window in derbies and doesn't get much bigger than this derby right here. De Oliveira goes short, no one home, and a pretty easy clearance in the end there by Windus, and Krilic on clean-up duty. Marconi throwing everyone forward, trying to get a counter-attack going, but Rule, the good ball out to Wells. Intercepted now, and it's Costanzo. Back in the middle to Bayless. Just calming it down a bit now. Milanic over to Griffiths. Bernie, one of a handful of former Blacktown City players to feature in this. Of course, Mario Chabot on the bench. You've got Carlos de Oliveira, Bernie as mentioned, and Tristan Prendergast. Blacktown City's fingerprints all over this one. Out wide, Vela in the middle. Had a good go at it, Jake True. Bit of contention between the United 58 defence and our referee in the centre, Stephen Lucas. But it's going to be a corner and a second one of the match for the Marconi Stallions. James Bayless on corner duty today. Goes right into the middle, open at the back stick. Looks like it was Costanza possibly, but Liam McGinn. Great defensive work to get into that one. Ball back in the middle, Prendergast. Strong fist away, but the attack's not over yet for Marconi. Bayless back in the middle. Jezic is there, Prendergast. Under a bit of duress, did pretty well there to keep his hands on the ball and will give his side a chance to catch their breath. Glazok with the quick turn, and they haven't really opted to go through the middle too much today, Sydney United. They've got plenty of pace and plenty of fitness in both the wing and wing-back positions today. Long ball over the top from Krilic. Doesn't go his way, and he's fighting hard to get the ball back. Gets his side a throw. Plenty of contention there from Peter Sekenis' man on the sideline. Not happy with that at all, Peter. Was pretty happy and calm pre-game, it must be said. Asked him about the prestige of this fixture, and did know that there was a little bump in training this week. Said they did train pretty good, but was unsure if it was related to the derby or not. Here's the other Sekenis. Damien it is. Bernie. True. And they've dominated possession a little bit since sort of the 5-minute mark, you'd say, the Marconi Stallions. Just tend to choke teams up a little bit and just slowly pick away at the defense. One of only 2 sides to remain undefeated this year. True goes long trying to find Jezic, and it's as routine as you like it. For United's number 1. Krilic through the middle. Tries to find Pretenzia. Not successful that time. It was Luke Zuvella actually that time. Playing as the number 9, the young man who came close to winning the Golden Boot in the under-20s last year. Though a shoulder injury in the final couple of weeks of the season prevented him from doing that, and that ended up going to Noah Peacock, son of Adam. Hatch headers that one away, but it's going to fall straight back into a dangerous area for Marconi. Good first touch there from Vela to get it through up top to Jake True, who's definitely made his impact on the game so far. It'll be a throw deep in enemy territory for the Marconi Stallions. Jezic returns to sender with Bernie. Nice little flick, good little 1-2 football here. Bernie's touch was just a little bit too high for True, but they'll get the ball back here. Bernie's been heavily involved. And a sloppy first touch there from Brandon Vela. Gives possession back the way United. And a late lunge there. Advantage given. Making a good run at it now. He's Dom Costanzo, but out for a throw. So Marconi really looking the likelier of the 2 sides. Now as the game really gets into its flow. United 58 obviously down a few experienced campaigners, must be said. Patrick Antelmi probably the most notable of those unavailable. Richie Darko still unavailable. Corner for Marconi. He's been unavailable for a little bit now with a quad injury. It's kept him on the sidelines. The middle, but a pretty easy header away by Vlastelica. Not out of danger for the time being, though. Vela resets it with Bernie and straight back out wide. Costanzo. Early cross, slow driven as well. Dealt with by the experienced campaigner, Glassick. Now a chance to go the other way. A decent effort at it by Matthew Hatch outside the foot. Switched wings with Mason Wells. Looked to find him, but good defensive effort there by Griffiths to stop it, and now Marconi a chance the other way. Brandon Vela. Jezic. For another 1-2 with Bernie, but too busy with his own battle there with Anthony Krilic. Griffiths forward. Jezic just turned the wrong way with the wrong foot. And McGinn, easy clean up there. But right back at it now. The Stallions through George Daniel. Costanzo outside the foot again. Goes for it again, Costanzo. Ball half volley in. Bounces away from both defender and marker Jezic. And probably the best moment of the game so far for the Stallions. Coming really close to finding the opener. We've only had 1 or 2 shots on targets, but nothing too threatening. Same can be said for Sydney United 58, who haven't had much of the ball the last 10 minutes. United 58, a bit of a indifferent start this season. 1 win, 3 draws, and 2 losses from their first 6 games. And only 6 goals scored, which puts them second last in that regard in terms of teams in this competition for least amount of goals scored. To be fair, the Stallions aren't far off. They're 4th in that category with 8 goals, but 2 of these sides very defensively solid. As we mentioned at the top, Stallions only conceding 4 goals so far, and as Peter Sekenis is pretty keen to point out, one of them being a penalty, but still very impressive nonetheless. Sydney United only conceding 9 so far. 4th least in that regard, which is always a positive. If you're struggling to find the back of the net, it's always good to know that the defence is going to be there to at least try and stop some of the good attacks that we've seen this season. Sydney United have played some pretty decent sides so far, including the table-topping Spirit last weekend where they had a 1-1 draw. Good ball through now. Bernie gets it back across the middle. First time effort from True. Just overhit it. Had just about everyone beat, but unfortunately for him, he's beat the frame of the goal over the bar. And the best chance of the game just goes begging for the Stallions. And they might be right back at it. Disappointing long pass out the back there. And Vlastelica does well to try to retain possession. And it seems that the United 58 defensively holding back a little bit and inviting the Stallions to come at them. Might be costing them a little bit just in terms of attacking numbers and the ability to counter-attack. Vlasic a bit outnumbered in the middle of the park, but does well to keep it. And Hatch, no other option really, but just to send it forward and allow his team to reset a little bit. Goal kick for the Stallions. Gives us a good little chance to quickly update what's happening around the grounds this round in NPL New South Wales men's. Starting off on the Friday night, we had St George Saints getting a 2-1 win over the Wollongong Wolves. The table-topping Spirit continue their incredible start to this season with a 1-0 win over Manly United, while St George City beat Mount Druitt 1-0. Sydney FC got a 2-1 win over Sydney Olympic. Zapia Leichhardt smashed the Western Sydney Wanderers 6-1, and Rockdale Linden got a 3-0 win over Blacktown City. Pretty impressive. As a decent touch in the crowd there. Don't think our camera picked that up, but gentleman in the crowd with a good little first touch to avoid any damage there from that long clearance. Back on the attack now, Marko Jezic. Vela. Nice little 1-2 there, and it looks like True might have gone down in the process, or Sekenis it was. He's a little bit ginger from that. Of course, Peter Sekenis got a pretty deep squad, and if he needs the backup striker of Kyle Cementi, always on the bench ready to go. Late challenge there, and Sydney United, especially that of Carlos de Oliveira, pleading for a card, but just as quickly wants to take the free kick. Vlasic sends it wide to Krilic. Zavella, his touch a little bit too heavy, but a good win back from Bailey Rule, and a bit of a commentator's curse there as another heavy touch, fortunately for the Stallions, goes their way. Played through the middle. Jezic went for it first time. Hatch did well to stop him. That had plenty of power behind it. It sent Matthew Hatch about 5 metres to the side. A bit off balance, obviously, but Jezic now back in a dangerous area. Bayliss gets past one, can't get past the other. Collision of legs there. Bernie, try to get that back in the middle. It's going to be a 4th corner within 20 minutes for the Stallions. Jake True on this one. Interestingly, if the Stallions want, they've got about 3 unmarked at the edge of the box. Brandon Vella, George Daniel, all lurking as most of the attention, I don't know if this is intentional or not, goes towards Tristan Prendergast. Got to feel bad for him. He's got about 14 different players on him, including his own teammates, trying to protect him. So this one might be headed straight for the goal mouth. Referee Stephen Lucas got his eyes on it, however. True goes short, edge of the box. Costanza's got time to line this one up. Goes outside the foot, but Prendergast knew that one was never really going to trouble him, and happy to see that one go past. And also happy to just chew up a couple precious seconds on the clock to give his side some precious ball back here. So at halftime here, should be able to catch the start of the Sutherland Sharks versus the Central Coast Mariners. Final game of the round. Kenneth now. Quick ball to True, I should say. As Classic is asking a little bit there of Hatch to get first to that one, past Griffiths and Burney, who had a good 10-metre advantage on him. Long ball over the top, try to find Jezic, just a little bit off balance, the experienced number 10. The other way now, back through Vela. Out on the left, it's Costanza. Good challenge by De Oliveira. But unfortunately for him, it's perfectly fallen to George Daniel. Sekenis cuts back. Milanic. Now with a bit of space to go forward is James Bayless. Going heavy right side through Tyron Burney in the first 25 minutes or so for the Marconi Stallions. And United just pushing a little bit more back to hold off what's been a pretty potent attack so far, as a good win back there by Mason Wells has caught a foul and taken very quickly here. Daniel. Almost a mix-up there between Griffiths and Bayless, but the centre-backs got it. Thought about it for a second, but went the safer option through Burney, but ball just bounced up a little bit. And the second game man there in the number 43 jersey for Sydney United. A little bit off balance and coughs up possession on the sideline there. Michael Pratzina scored on debut last week, and just one of the stories, one of the scripts you dream about. Early ball headed away by McGinn. Good on him, the young lad, and something that United 58 have prided themselves on. Their junior academy and bringing players through. Of course, you see the seeds of that in their team now, just littered with plenty of youth academy products. And even on the other side, Marko Jezic, one of them. Plenty of history here. De Oliveira, just a bit of miscommunication there between him and Zuvela out on the right. But it'll go in the favour of United 58. This crowd, unfortunately, not too much to get excited about in the opening stanza of this game. Possibly something to be cooked up here, though. Wells, beautiful bit of trickery there, and gets the ball back with a nice 1-2. First time effort from Hatch. Mishit it. And Krilich and Burney, the opposing wingbacks, go head to head for it. Burney comes out on top, but concedes a throw in as a cost. Krilich again advanced and just went the wrong way for Hatch. Sekenis being pushed back a little bit, and not many attacking options, and the wise Jack True just plays it back. High press for United. In defence, Burney baited the cut in there. High foot from Sekenis. Might have inadvertently taken a little chunk of Adrian Vlastelitz's forehead in the process. Looked like it, but there were calls a little bit earlier there that Tyrone Burney might have gone a couple metres forward from where the ball went. Referee wasn't interested in it. Vlastelica. Rule. Now De Oliveira, space in the middle. Pratzina. Matthew Hatch cuts in. Is he going to have a crack? Hatch try to go in the middle. Probably one touch too many, but it's a corner nonetheless for Sydney United 58. De Oliveira, the set piece specialist for United 58, goes direct to the 6-yard box, but United 58 players probably a little bit too deep for that. Oh, finds Wells. Long ball, straight down the throat of James Hilton. Clean that up for breakfast. Back now, Vela with Daniel, nice little 1-2. And the makeshift front three now. Jake True almost chests it past Krilic. Does well to keep the ball. Cleaned up by Bayless. And Rule stops Jezic from having a clear path at goal there. Hatch. Intercepted by Jake True, but Jezic had the same idea. And unfortunately, no one forward to pick up the pieces for the Marconi Stallions. So obviously Marconi, as we mentioned at the top, one of the only sides to remain undefeated so far. Started off their campaign with a 1-1 draw with Sydney Olympic. Went to St. George FC. Had a similar result there. Sorry, at home to start the season. 2 draws. All 3 of their home games this season, 1-1 draws. The most recent one being with Blacktown City, and all 3 of their wins on the road. Obviously getting a grand final rematch and getting another bit of bragging rights over Rockdale Linden a couple of weeks ago with a 2-1 win and a 2-0 win at Mount Druitt, and then a 1-0 win last week against Sydney FC at the Rockdale Linden Sports Centre. Just giving themselves a bit of breathing room from a top sort of 4 or 5, if you will, and the rest is only about 6 points that separates 8th from 15th in the very early stages of this competition. Still plenty of football to be played over 23 weeks remaining, but as we've seen last season, every point counts, whether you're in the race for finals or scrapping for relegation. That's something that Peter Sekenis highlighted pre-game. Just 3 points at a time and timing your run at a good time. Obviously the Stallions timed their run perfectly last year. Found form at the back end of last year, had that absolute cricket score against Rockdale Linden that kind of surged them all the way to the grand final and eventually winning that grand final. As a spinning header from Milanic goes the way of Sydney United 58. Mason Wells, great save by Hilton. On the rebound, it's Zuvela! And I think just about everyone in this stadium, including me, didn't see the offside flag. And Sydney United find the back of the net, but unfortunately it's been ruled out. And looking back at it, pretty fair decision. Wells with the original strike, the side's top goal scorer this season. Really good save from close effort from Hilton. Thought he did well enough to get it out of range, but Zavella on the right, it fell perfectly to him. Had a touch, buried it. But by the time we all see the net bulge, the flag was unfortunately raised and the youngster will be absolutely gutted to not have found, or to not have an official goal and to give Sydney United the lead. You could just hear the crowd when that ball hit the back of the net. It was electric. And Sydney United just a little momentum boost there. See what they can do with that. Obviously, Michael Pratzina was the spark there. Well, it was Hatch, but the ball fell perfectly to Pratzina, who laid it off to Wells with that first effort. Obviously made his debut for round 5, and he's been awarded a scholarship. Will continue training with the first team, and obviously with Patrick Antelmi out, he should be seeing plenty of game time, and obviously with such a packed and heavy 2025, probably the most game-heavy season that Sydney United will have to date. Players like him and Zuvella are going to come pretty important when the middle of the season strikes. Ball in from Bayless. Jezic's header just past the front stick. And corner by the linesman. Did look that way. Jezic's header was pretty, not that far off the target, but considering what we're used to from Marko Jezic, would have expected that to at least force the hand of Tristan Prendergast. And it didn't, so corner the way of Marconi. Took a deflection on the way out. Says the team of referees here at Sydney United Sports Centre. Good ball in at the back stick. Vastalitsa on clean-up duty. Hit back in by Costanza. And a good flick there from True to find Bayless. Back in the middle. Great header and in the back of the net. An absolute picture-perfect header from Lachlan Griffiths gives the Marconi Stallions a 1-0 lead in this match of the round. Sensational finish. Keeper couldn't do anything about it. And Griffiths, with his first strike of the season, has a goal. Massive credit to the combination of Jake True and James Bayless. Was True's back heel that sent Bayless back through down the line, untouched, and a perfect ball in the middle, and an even better header from the centre half of the Marconi Stallions. 1-0 Marconi, 35 minutes gone here. And just as things started to look up for Sydney United, the Stallions strike just their 9th goal of the season. So Griffiths adds his name to the likes of Jezic and Sikenis with 2 apiece. Busek, Cementi, and Franco Maya, who in crutches at the moment. One of the star men for the Marconi Stallions as the side's goal scorers this season. Bayless absolutely clatters that one into De Oliveira, but wears it on his chest as he goes down, and Bayless goes down with him, and referee Stephen Lucas in to defuse things pretty quickly. De Oliveira pleading his case there. Very, very short socks, it must be said, for Carlos De Oliveira if you have a quick look around. Almost barely covers his shin, but back to the important stuff here. Zuvella out wide, looking for the early ball to rule, and that ball sent up the hill. Well-populated hill next to the bar there, here at Sydney United Sports Centre. Working his way around there. Looked like Mason Wells or Glassick. Just spun around a little bit, but United 58 retain possession and pushing numbers forwards. Good to see. Good to see a good attacking momentum from the hosts here. That's what's going to get us the most entertaining game for both these sides, really. Classic's aerial duel goes down, and looks like it was Costanzo or Sekenis, I should say. The two 17s going at it, and the Marconi 17 fouled that time. As Milanic clears it out of danger. McGinn heads it backwards to Prendergast, and luckily he was positioned right at the edge of the box there because Marko Jezic was lurking and he knew exactly what was coming. Long goal kick from Prendergast had Mason Wells fooled. Hatch just waited for it to come to him, and the goal scorer, Lockie Griffiths, first to it. The two captains going at it. Referee says play on. Hatch, Classic. Good shoulder-to-shoulder effort there with Brendan Vella. Out wide. Zuvela. So Zuvela, who started more centrally, and Mason Wells out wide, looks to have shifted positions in the last couple of minutes or so. Back in the middle now, it's Pratzina. The youngster turns and finds De Oliveira. Krilic. Matthew Hatch. Evaluates his options, and Glasic in a pretty advanced position, the number 6. Pratzina thought about going it himself and tried to find Krilic out on the left. No success there for United 58. And another goal kick the way of the Stallions as we count down the end of the first half here. Bit of a delayed start due to the 20s going a bit OT, which was won by the Stallions, and they're going to have a bit more success here today. Marconi. Good showing of fans from both sides, really. Not too much of an away trip for the Marconi fans. Vlastelica. Might have used Sekenis as a little bit of leverage to get that header as Pratzina trying to find his fellow youngster in Zuvela out on the right, and cleared away pretty easily by Milanic. Raw with the long throw, and Zuvela in a bit of danger being marked by George Daniel there. Vlastelica. Hatch 1-2 with De Oliveira. The pacey winger is going to have to do well to get to this one, and does even better to get to a corner for Sydney United, but it's going to be called a free kick in a very dangerous area. De Oliveira lines this one up. He's taken all the United 58 set pieces so far, the number 10. De Oliveira goes direct. McGinn's header looked deflected away, and it's going to be a corner for Sydney United 58. Good effort. Ball into the front stick, found Glasic, but there's appeals from both sides, really. McGinn was on the floor, but the referee waving all them off. Glasic almost trying to flick that one with the heel into the back of the net, unsuccessful, and a goal kick the way of the Marconi Stallions as a result. just one goal in the last almost 220 minutes of action for United 58, and that came in the 33rd minute of last week's 1-1 draw with Spirit as Carlos de Oliveira was taken down through on goal. Not happy about that, but referee says all is fair. Been struggling to find the back of the net a little bit recently. See, prior to that 1-1 draw with the Spirit, a 3-0 loss to the Central Coast Mariners here just 2 weeks ago. Prior to that, a 2-0 win over another academy side, the Western Sydney Wanderers, before a 0 draw away to Manly United, which has been a bit of a bogey trip for United 58 in recent years. Some within the camp suggest it's been nearly 10 years since they've found a win there. And a 3-1 loss at the Rockdale Linden Sports Centre at the hands of Sydney FC, when they started off their season with a pretty remarkable come-from-behind draw against the Sutherland Sharks, 2-2, with Mason Wells scoring an absolute screamer. He's got 2 goals this season, both of them pretty top-notch, it must be said. They'll be looking to do the same as they're looking to break a bit of their goal drought here. Well, close to 90 minutes without one now, Sydney United 58. Low-driven shot by the man who scored their only goal last week on debut, Pratzina. Gets another corner for Sydney United 58. Good effort by the youngster. Good on him. Showing a bit of go forward and a bit of confidence to go himself. Looping ball in the middle. Dealt with by Griffiths. Edge of the box, De Oliveira. Screams for handball, but the referee, Stephen Lucas, pretty adamantly pointing to the abdomen, suggesting that that's where the ball came off, and it's going to be another corner for Sydney United 58. They're third in a matter of minutes. De Oliveira goes direct, headed away, and another corner for United 58. Mason Wells on corner duty on the far side. Goes front stick, and unfortunately for United 58, just about every corner so far has been dealt with by the Stallions, all 6 of them, or at least hitting the body of Marconi first, as the 4th official indicates 1 minute of added time for the first half of action here. Krilic taken out by Yazic inadvertently, it must be said, but still an illegal act, says Stephen Lucas. Just under 30 seconds remain here. Vlastelica goes quick. They're looking to find the back of the net to go into half-time level. Zavella showing his strength. Getting past George Daniel, and great bit of dribbling to get past the helping Costanzo at the back there. He's taken down and appeals for a penalty. Again, waved off pretty quickly. And the flag goes up for offside as Mason Wells came from in front to take the ball off Costanzo there. And that should be the final act of this first half for both sides. Very eventful opening 45 minutes here at the Sydney United Sports Centre. And that'll do it for an entertaining first half here at the Sydney United Sports Centre. Join us back here in 15 minutes for the second half. It's all up for play here in Adenza Park as halftime comes to us now. Welcome back. Second half action here at the Sydney United Sports Centre for the match of the round of round 7 in the NPL New South Wales men's competition. And it looks like a substitution from either side being made. So it looks like Ante Juric has gotten Luke Zavella off for number 13, Alessandro Lacalandra, who came on a little bit prematurely there, was ready to get going, but referee Stephen Lucas telling him to come back through the middle before he gets onto the pitch to make that one official. And Peter Sekenis has brought on Matej Busek out on the right side of the front three, if you will. So we're back underway. 45 minutes to play here at Adenza Park. 3 crucial points up for grabs for both sides. And not the best start for Sydney United. 58. Nice early ball to Jezic. Heads it forward, but he's got 2 towering centre-backs meeting him company as the substitute Busek first to it. Costanza tried to flick it over the top and an overhead kick away from Carlos de Oliveira. So a bit of experience, if you will, up top now with Lacalandra coming off the bench. Can play anywhere in that front three, really. Mason Wells struggling to keep that one in, and the surface a little bit slippery from the outpouring of rain that we had throughout the morning, and calls for a corner there brushed off. Marconi will get the goal kick. So no real formational change for either side as well, as we mentioned, just the one substitution either way. Big header there from McGinn, and referee Stephen Lucas just issuing a bit of a warning there to Liam McGinn. Says he might have got in the back of Damien Sekenis, and just checking a potential head knock there for the number 17. Here is the substitute Busek. So plenty of action since coming on in the opening stages of this first half, and a push in the back there by Bernie. Pretty easy free kick to give there, Stephen Lucas. So obviously the goal that separating the two sides was Lachlan Griffiths' beautiful header. Picture perfect in the 35th minute after Sydney United themselves had a goal ruled out due to the offside flag, with Luke Zuvella capitalising on a James Hilton save from a Mason Wells shot to find the back of the net just moments prior to that opening goal. Just looking down at the grandstands, you just see 4 or 5 experienced first graders for Sydney United 58. Just eagerly waiting, counting down the days until they can come back. Patrick Antelmi, Richie Darko amongst those. Now Milanic looking to go a little bit forward, but just had a little bit of coming to life there and realising what was in front of him. Jezic back to Bayless. Across now, George Daniel. He's had an impressive opening 45 minutes, the left back. Very physical start to this game, as was expected, really, these two sides. Jezic has a look, goes for it. Prendergast was a little bit off his line, but had that one covered pretty easily, and Jezic looked up, almost gave Prendergast a little heads up that he was going for that one. And the United 58 number 1, no real trouble there, but the first shot of the second half for the visitors. Long ball out. Wells does pretty good to keep possession the way of the hosts, and Bailey Rule, a miscommunication there with Lacalandra, and gives him a little sorry there, a little hand up gesture to let him know that pass probably wasn't the best. Lakalandra, bit of hold up play here. As Hatch, just for the time being, drifts into the middle. And trying to keep that one in was Brandon Vella. Good bit of work there. To go out for a throw and stop the attack for the time being from the second game man, Michael Pratzina. So United 58 almost looking at their bench again in the early stages of this second half to lighten this up. They've been under the pump a bit to start. And a poor back pass there from Marko Jezic. Lakalandra sees Hilton off his line. Deflected back into his path and still a chance here. Mason Wells, one-on-one. Mason Wells hits the post. Deflected back to De Oliveira. Sydney United 58 with their first attacking chance of the second half. Level things up. And the skipper, Marko Jezic, will be kicking himself as he collects himself from the back of the net. His back pass, intercepted by the substitute Alessandro Lakalandra, was urged on by the big crowd here today to shoot from halfway. Didn't get underneath it enough, but it deflected straight back into his path. And a perfectly timed pass to Mason Wells, who expertly got it onto his left and was unlucky not to find the back of the net, but hit the good side of the post as it fell back to De Oliveira. Had to get himself back to balance and rifled it into the roof of the net. And this game is well and alive at Adenza Park. Sydney United 1, Marconi Stallions 1. And Bailey Rule might have had a slight little collision with our social media team and cameraman down there on the sideline. Just making sure things are all good there. Of course, you can follow NPL New South Wales on Instagram and Facebook for a bit of behind-the-scenes action today by the one and only Jude Dolan. Did a fantastic intro to welcome the fans to this historical derby. And he's been doing some good stuff throughout. Keep your eyes peeled throughout and after the game as well. We have reaction from both sides as Milanic shoulder to shoulder there with Mason Wells, who almost took out the linesman on the far side there. Patrick Telecki. But a throw, a free kick called, which you could hear Peter Sekenis arguing that a throw-in was initially ruled, but a little bit too much action there from Milanic on Mason Wells. Getting a free kick, and now United 58 suddenly staring down the barrel of taking a lead for the first time this game. And taking a lead in a game for the first time in a good bit. Last time they had a lead was in that 2-0 victory against the Western Sydney Wanderers. It'll be the first time in just under 3 games that they've had that chance. De Oliveira goes short. McGinn almost didn't see that one coming to him. And taken down in the box was Adrian Vlastelica. Arms out wide as he paces back to stop the Marconi Stallions counter-attack. But it's going to be a throw-in for Sydney United 58 as Stephen Lucas just issues a warning to Vlastelica for possibly the way he asked for that penalty. Player that wears his heart on his sleeve, the captain. Long throw from Krilic goes right back out. Return to sender, that one. Krilic again assessing his options. Has Pratzina. De Oliveira outnumbered. One too many blue shirts in the middle there for the hosts. Got kickoff in the Sutherland Sharks Central Coast Mariners game. 0-0 so far. 16 minutes gone there in the Shire. Throw in now for the Stallions. Jezic pretty deep in that left corner and does well to get a corner for the Stallions. Their first of the second half, 6th of the game for them. Corner swung in and it was headed away by Hatch. But back into danger for the Stallions. Driven at the front post, it was Griffiths there again. Could have been staring down the barrel of a double, the centre back. Busek. What a strike! Matej Busek out of absolutely nothing. Caught everyone off guard. And the Stallions have their lead back within 10 minutes of conceding. What a strike. And it's two substitutes making all the difference for both sides. Marconi restore their 1-goal cushion. And it's the substitute, number 24, Matej Busek. Looked like absolutely nothing was on. Had a really tough angle to get that shot off. But Sydney United looking to bounce back right away. They're right in formation for this one. Both wingers hugging the sidelines. And Ante Juric just turning around to his bench to see what options he's got to potentially get this game back level. But it's been an exhilarating second half so far. Just 10 minutes gone. A goal either way. The Stallions lead 2-1 in this local derby. The Oliveira was calling for the foul, but got the foul given away there. And a nice little smile between himself and Brandon Bella. They've had a good little battle in the middle of the park there. Daniel. Under a bit of pressures, Griffiths. And it's how they got their first goal. And here a big sigh of relief there from De Oliveira as he knows their high press finally paid off. Didn't work in their favour in the first half, but credit to Ante Juric. Stayed true to his tactics and what he wanted to do, and they're starting to reap the rewards now, the hosts. McGinn claims to be taken out in midair. Referee says play on. Throw taken quickly here, or look to be taken quickly here by Jezic, but wisely just assessing his options. Milanic, good first time ball there from Jezic as Sekenis tries to get around Adrian Vlastelica. Not this time. And possession wasted and coughed up pretty quickly there by the hosts. De Oliveira again with the overhead kick, and Griffiths forcing the issue on Lacalandro as he pushed him out of the way for that one to get the header, but United 58 lose the ball and it's a throw for the Stallions. Daniel's header forward, Vlasic on clean-up duty. De Oliveira surrounded and ball back the way of United 58. Ball over the top. McGinn clears it, but inadvertently back into a dangerous area. First time effort by James Bayliss. Looked good to start with, but Prendergast did very well to just gobble that one up. But now right back the way of the Stallions. Big challenge there by Vlastelica and a free kick given a little bit delayed, which frustrates the United 58 fans and defence alike. So Kenneth it was forcing the issue. Free kick, lined up here from distance, went for the set play. Lakalandra was there though. It was Bayless. Tried the sneaky through, almost underneath the wall. Bernie, great bit of skill to get past Hatch. Now with a bit of pace to burn Tyron Bernie. But Krilich is there to stop him for the time being. Ball back with one of the attacking sparks of this side, Costanzo. George Daniel tries to control it with his head and it's out. And possession back with the way United 58 as they breathe a sigh of relief as they can get the ball back. So all the substitutes, the bench is cleared for both sides and warming up pretty close next to each other as well, the two rivals. Chasing onto that one was Busek. Under a bit of pressure, Prendergast. Experienced campaigner though, spending plenty of those situations before as Wells tries to heads it through for De Oliveira. Sniffed out by George Daniel who does the double on Wells. Calls for a handball, waved off. De Oliveira caught up with Bayless. And a strong challenge either way there by the number 10. And he's finally caught up there and put in the book. First yellow card of this game. So an hour of action gone here. Plenty of action to look back on in that first hour. Couple drops of rain just starting to creep back in here as well. As shouldn't be too much for the remainder of the game, but hopefully it stays away. It's been pretty good up until kickoff here. There's a throw deep in the host territory for the Stallions now. George Daniel given the duty. And the ball kicked away by Bailey Rule into an area where that ball will probably never be seen again here, unfortunately, at Adenza Park. Costanzo straight into Mason Wells and another throw for Marconi now. Daniel to Yazic. Yazic to Costanzo, and nothing they can do about it there. United 58 with possession back. Just wonder if either side will go for a bit of a circuit breaker, possibly in the middle of the park. It's where the game has arguably been won by the Marconi Stallions. And a bit of ping pong here with the heads of the Stallions trying to go forward. It hasn't stopped yet. Lakalandra trying to force something. Headed away by Milanic. But back into the path of Griffiths by Glassock. Now out wide's Busek. Gets past Krilich. Bernie bursting onto the scene. Tries to get the ball back in the middle, but Matthew Hatch covering at left back. Gets it out for a corner. Ball straight into the middle. Sekenis open header. It was a great ball, even better header, just a little bit too high. The top corner, just seen that one go begging. And Sydney United 58. Looks like they're going to inject the experienced Mario Chabot. Into this one with just under 25 minutes to play. Former Blacktown City man, former captain of that side as well. Referee looked to blow his whistle, looked to give the advantage, but with the ball seemingly heading back the way of Sydney United 58. Yeah, it's going to be a Marconi Stallions free kick from just over the halfway line as second substitution of the game. It's going to be the youngster in just his second appearance, Michael Pratzina, making way for Chabot. Free kick not working out the way of the Stallions as United 58 looking to conjure up a counter-attack here. The Oliveira, good work to find Wells, gets through a couple, falls to the ground, but no foul play there. Stallions the other way now. Griffiths in a pretty advanced position, and Chabot getting himself inserted into the game straight away with a burst of energy. It was George Daniel taken down. Chabot just trying to spark something for his team, get a bit of momentum back, because when they get a bit of momentum, United 58, they're a scary side, especially in attack. But now for the Stallions, it's Dom Costanzo. Great ball in, and lurking at the back stick was Sekenis as Prendergast wasn't too fond of the way that he was treated after pretty easily collecting that one. A little push and shove between the two. No love lost there. And the free kick taken quickly. McGinn, long ball forward. Lacalandra's in a bit of space here if he can get a foot to it. Alessandro Lacalandra on his right goes for it. Expertly dealt with by Anton Milanic. And United 58 denied for the time being, but still in a great position to find their second, as Rule just a little bit too wide for Mason Wells. And the Stallions defense will breathe a sigh of relief there. Goal kick for James Hilton. Hilton's long free kick perfectly to the head of Sekenis, and Busek, a little bit of a wayward touch, goes to De Oliveira, who calls for the free kick and gets it. As Chabot and referee Stephen Lucas caught up in a bit of a jumble there as he tried to take that one quickly, but it's Glassick who takes that duty, try to find Hatch out wide. The clearance goes straight to Krilic, who fouls Busek in the process, and thought about going into his pocket there, Stephen Lucas. Keeps the cards away for the time being. Just under 22 minutes remaining here. Chabot putting Hilton under plenty of pressure. He's got fresh legs, the number 8. And he looks to have forced him into a mistake, as Costanzo is going to be carded here for punching the ball away. Bit of a silly mistake there from one of the Stallions' best players. And Sekenis and his staff, and Damien Sekenis as well, arguing the fact that the ball was out. when Costanzo punched it away, but I think it's more of a delay of the game foul and just setting the tone here, Stephen Lucas, for the final 20 so minutes of the game. Just making sure it doesn't get too out of control here. Early pass from Vlastelica finds Krilic. Now Hatch. Picking out Chabot. Vlastelica back out wide. Hatch first time ball over the top. Finds Chabot. Between a hard place there, Chabot, but the ball goes back the way of Krilic. Urged to shoot. Gives it to De Oliveira. Low driven shot, but Hilton first to it. Pretty routine save in the end there. Vlasic does well to get back in defence there and win the ball back for United 58, and you can just sense a little bit of momentum going their way now, the hosts. Chabot, plenty of space to go forward. Out wide to Hatch and just didn't get enough power on it. And they'll reset here through Tristan Prendergast as Kyle Cementi looks to be the next substitute injected into this game. Possibly Damien Sekenis, the man to make way. We'll see. Krilic's ball headed away by Vela, and Rule thought about it for a second. Wells back to Rule. First time ball in, and Costanza does well in defence. The outstretched leg forces a corner. And stopping a clear-cut chance there as Mason Wells lines this corner up. Wells ball into the middle, hit almost the chest of Liam McGinn, and a few arms raised there, but not enough power on that one to trouble James Hilton. Glassock. Wells first time ball cleared away by Bayliss. And now back on the attack, Sydney United 58 if they can get it forward here. Costanzo. Plenty of attacking spark from the number 6. Ball into the middle. Turned away by Glassick. Now De Oliveira lobs it forward for Lacalandra. Kyle Cementi will come on. Dom Costanzo off after receiving the yellow card. So Cementi will take his place out on the left. Yazic and Sekenis continue the 1-2 punch through the middle. Yazic falling over and pushing the back from McGinn there. Not sure if the foul was on the early one, but regardless. Resetting out the back now with Milanic. So a few interesting points here from the last couple of games between these two sides. Obviously the Stallions looking to keep their 9-game unbeaten run continuing from last season here. And they've scored first 5 of the last 6 times against Sydney United, and in the 3 games they've led this season, if they've gone into the breakup, they haven't gone on to lose, which is pretty impressive. Similarly, Sydney United going into the breakdown, 1 draw, 1 loss. In those 2 occasions, that's happened this season. See Sydney United with pretty good record here in the last 5 games at their home ground. 4 wins of the last 5 games here. But if they can get something here, it might just be the end of that streak. We'll go out for a throw anyway. So just 9 goals in their last 5 games against Sydney United. Sydney United 8 within that time span as well, so pretty even between the 2 sides. 3 wins to Sydney United and 2 to the Marconi Stallions. Obviously last season a 3-2 win and a 3-1 win here for Sydney United. Sekenis, quick ball to Bussek's already got 1 goal to his name, would love another one. But United the other way, Glassick long ball through to Lakalandra. He's got 1 too many blue shirts for his liking. Lakalandra urged to go for it, but just waits now. Chabot. Short ball to Wells. Crosses it in, deflected away off Griffiths, and another corner for United 58. 14 minutes to go here. Continuing to ask the question of the Stallions defence. Knocking on the door for potentially a 2nd goal here. There's always plenty of goals in these fixtures between these 2 sides, from both sides really. Wells headed away by Griffiths, and Cementi's clearance didn't get all of it, but the second chance effort there, pretty good. As Rule recovers, looking to get it restarted pretty early. Thought about the long ball, but playing it safe. Back to his fullback partner in Anthony Krilich. McGinn out wide. Chested down by Wells and Glassick. Bit of room to move forward now. Almost had a perfect path through to Lakalandra, but it was Milanic getting forward and cutting off that route. Back the same way for Sydney United though. Good tackle there by, looked like it was Bayless. Putting in a bit of help on the right. In an unusual position there. Rule. Wells quickly met by George Daniel. Mason Wells, he goes for it again. Curling effort. Hilton got a strong palm to it. And the follow-up just as good from the number 1. Chabot was there lurking, but James Hilton stops that one. And it was that in round 1, that exact same play that Mason Wells found the top corner. An absolute screamer to level the game just before injury time. So we know what he's capable of, and they'll have to be wary of that, the Marconi Stallions, in the final 10 or so minutes here. Chabot had Wells in acres of space there, but just couldn't get the curl on that one. George Daniel now. Marconi haven't had much going forward in the last 5 minutes. The momentum really tipping towards the hosts. But defensively, pretty sound from Marconi. You can tell that defensive record speaks for itself, really. Haven't conceded more than 1 goal in a game, and just 5 from the first 7 games this season. Jezic bursting forward, forced a lunged clearance by the skipper. The other skipper, that is, Adrian Vlastelica. Milanic Daniel trying to lob it forward to the fresh substitute there. Kyle Cementi makes his mark there. Deflecting the McGinn clearance. The referee just telling Bailey Rule to go back a couple of metres. It's been a bit of an issue this game for both sides, trying to get every advantage they can, really. Classic launches it into the middle. Chabot seizes the opportunity, but Griffiths first to it. Back on the ball now, Griffiths. Try to find Cementi, he was looking for it forward. Step back a little bit as third substitute being lined up now for Sydney United, and it looks like it's going to be another youngster, Christian Lardieri. Krilic bursting forward, has Hatch on his left. Hatch first time. So it's going to be Liam Hatch. That'll be his final involvement of the game. Christian Lardieri make his way out on the left, and a big support, big cheer for Lardieri. A little corner of supporters there on the left. Hilton with a monster clearance from his goal line there. Classic first to it. The two skippers dueling. They've done that a couple times this game. Vlastelica and Jezic. Youngster with his first touch of the ball and gets a loud cheer from the audience as a falcon on Marko Jezic gets the biggest cheer of the day so far. Jezic trapped in a tight space there and somehow manages to come out the better of it. Milanic just playing around with it and looking to keep possession as much as they can. United 58 are notorious for their late comebacks at this ground especially. It doesn't matter the quality of the opponent really. Early ball into the back stick, no one home. And could the Marconi Stallions live to regret that chance? Possession lost by United 58. A couple of heavy touches from Busek. Ends up back in their possession. Cementi. Milanic. Plenty of pressure there by Lakalandra, and Hilton got it away and got it away pretty good. Just struggling to keep the ball at the moment. United 58, maybe a little bit too urgent to try and get it forward, and we've seen how dangerous they can be in transition, but especially when they're knocking around the park a little bit. Good first time ball from Cementi. Vella's through now. In the middle to Jezic. A little bit too heavy. Overran it a bit, the captain, and now the other way, De Oliveira. Lardieri has his pockets picked and still gets a cheer from the crowd. You love to see it. De Oliveira loops it in the middle. Chabot pushing the back. Free kick for United 58. Could this be the turning point for the hosts? Quickly taken by Chabot. Mason Wells, is he going to get it onto his left? Cuts it back in. Bailey Rule at the end. Edge of the box. And Hilton comes out to that one. There was so much going on there. Bailey Rule thought about it, had us all fooled, and crossed it in instead. And a botched clearance by Milanic. Ends up eventually being defused by James Hilton, who a little bit worse for wear coming out of that. 5 minutes of regulation remaining here. So half-time at the Sutherland Sharks Central Coast Mariners game. 1-0 the way of the host there. Tune into that at the conclusion of this one. Marconi, wouldn't they love a third goal here? Dominated large chunks of the second half ever since scoring that second goal. A nice little flick on, forces Bernie to do a little bit of work there. Keeps it in well. Busek now. Made a world of difference since coming off the bench. Winning the ball back there was Vela. And now back into the attack. Number 23. Krilic gets rid of it, but only as far as Bernie. Vela gets past Krilic. Tries to get it back into the middle. Stopped by Vlastelica. And Glasic dispossesses his opposing number 17. And now a chance for the youngster Ladieri, but a great stop by Griffiths. To Tarek Meyer, final substitute to come on for Sydney United 58. Vela with a quick 1-2 to Busek, but hit out by Krilic on the left. That's going to be Michael Glasic. Put in a great shift in the middle of the park in the number 6 shirt. And he'll come off for Tarek Meyer. So Sydney United 58 used all of their stoppages in the game, and the only substitute left, Anthony Tomilic, the most experienced of them all. The only outfield player left to come on, possibly, if Ante Juric wants. Trapped in the corners, Bernie there, and it looks like United 58 come out the winners of that challenge, and they do. Free kick taken very quickly, no time to waste for the hosts here. Chested forward by Lakalandra and ushered out by Bernie. So just under 2 minutes to go of regulation. You'd assume there'd be a pretty healthy chunk of added time, which is where the hosts seem to thrive, coming from behind, really. Chabot wins it back in the middle. Can he spark an attack for United 58? Or is the commentator's curse striked again? Meyer with his first touch since coming on. Out wide, Bailey Rule, very advanced. De Oliveira, first time over the top. Bailey Rule beats Sekenis to it. Back in the middle, Mason Wells went for the corner again. Calls for a handball. Carrying on with the attack now, Wells. Gets a corner out of it. Plenty of protests from the United 58 players. Calls for a handball. It looks like Liam Yuley might be a late substitute appearance for Marconi. There's just about everyone forward. 3 at the edge of the box. Bailey Rule, the last man in defence. Tristan Prendergast just over the halfway line. Swung into the back stick. Hilton, strong fist. Almost curled it back into his own net, but another corner for Sydney United 58. Their 10th of the game. Chabot on corner duties now. Chabot cross to the back stick, no one home. And 4 minutes of injury time to play as Liam Yuley looks to come on for the hosts, or for the visitors, I should say. That's going to be Anton Milanic to make way. Oh, apologies, it's going to be Damien Sekenis, fooled by the old number on the interchange board there by the 4th official. Damien Sekenis coming off to a rather large round of applause. Good effort today. Rule heads that goal kick out pretty quickly, but just more advantage for the Stallions with just under 3 minutes remaining here. Staring down the barrel, possibly their 4th away victory of the season. And a game next week at home with the Western Sydney Wanderers at Saturday, 7 o'clock. Awaits them. Yuli, his first chance off the bench, lays it off. It's Busek again. Great save by Prendergast. Jezic to win it. Maka Jezic scores, but the flag is up again. And for the second time this match, in almost the exact same circumstances, it's been ruled out by Amir Hussein Hosnani on the furthest touchline there. But still 2 minutes to go for Sydney United if they want to find the back of the net. Marconi already sent a strike down the bows to let them know. So Cementi down, and the Sydney United 58 fans not showing their happiness here, but it looks like he might have to come off. Could be a dislocation of a wrist there, possibly for Cementi. That's disappointing for him. Limited time here today, and holding up that wrist pretty gingerly. And it's going to be Miloslav Popovic to take his place. Disappointing end there for Cementi. Ball launched forward now. You'd expect a little bit of extra time considering everything that's happened here in injury time. Busek flicks it over. Yuli thought about it. Out wide, Popovic, his first touch. It's going to be a corner for Marconi. Taking their time to get this one as we're officially up on injury time. But expect a little bit of time to play on here. Jezic holds it in the corner. Yuli goes in the middle. Busek, first time! Mataj Busek went for the winner. And now Sydney United 58 the other way. They couldn't do it now, surely. Good touch forward by Lakalandra. Every bit of gas left in the tank being exerted here. Looks to have copped a little bit of a knock to the hip flexor there. Throw in taken quickly. Chabot. Krilic. Back to the number 8. Turns. With Krilic again. Now back to Vlastelica. Mason Wells is open at the back. Looking to get a cross in. A double deflection. And cleared away by Griffiths. And that's all she wrote. The Marconi Stallions are victors in this historic derby. 2-1. Sydney United 58 threw everything at them. An offside goal either way gave us plenty of entertainment. But in the end, it's the visitors who get the win and remain without loss in this 2025 NPL New South Wales men's season. Thank you very much for joining us. Be sure to catch the end of the Sutherland Sharks and Central Coast Mariners and all the action coming from round 8. Thanks again for joining us and have a great evening.